Happy Sabbath, everybody. Today is January 8th, 2022. And we're so happy that Auntie Doreen is here.
Yeah.
She's doing a whole lot better. And we're going to finish the series about the judgment upon the cities, right? I added this one. I added this last section about how and when we are to escape the destruction of the cities, right? Because we already know what is going to happen in reference to Revelation 18, and what's gonna. And with the wrath of God that comes down upon Nashville and Copenhagen, and also what happened in New York and all these things. So now we have to go back and kind of look line upon line as to how and when we have to flee the destruction of the cities. All right? Okay. So let's go to the slide. I know this is something that we have done so many times before, but we'll just do it over again. When do you escape the destruction that is going to come to the cities, right? When do you escape? And I obviously have that picture down there, right? That's what Jesus said. When do you escape? When you see the abomination of desolation, stand in the place where it not to be, right? You have to flee to the mountains. All right. Okay. So let's do that section that we've done in the past. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. And let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. I was just thinking about that. It's not just people who are in Jerusalem that have to, right? Not just in the city, but in the whole land. All of them have to flee to the mountain. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Obviously, what was the setting of this? Jesus just came and left the Jerusalem, right? And left the temple, and he had cursed the leaders, called them vipers, right? And his disciples were admiring the beautiful temple, right? And then he said, not one stone is going to be left standing, right? Because and then he was telling them at the Mount of Olives of all the signs of the times that's going to happen at that time, but also what's going to happen in the end time, right? Yeah. When you see the abomination of desolation standing where it ought not, right? When you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the destruction therefore is nigh. Yeah. So where is the abomination of desolation that is spoken of by Daniel? Where is that? Where did Daniel talk about the abomination of desolation? You remember that verse in Daniel? Daniel 12, right? Daniel 12. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate. So you have to read this and understand it. That's what Jesus says. What do you know? What is the abomination of desolation? Right? And we know what it is when we go back If you understand, you want to understand Daniel 12, you have to understand Daniel 11, right? What abomination does this? What this entity does? What is the abomination does he do? He will exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. Right? When will the indignation be accomplished? And then he will receive what? A deadly wound in 1798. That's why until 1290 years, 30 years from 508 to 538, plus the 1260 from 538 until 1798 is the 1290. Blessed are those who read it and understand it, right? But then when you see the abomination of desolation standing in the place where it ought not to be, let those who are in Jerusalem and in Judea flee, right, to the mountains, right? And the description of the abomination, what abominable things he is doing, right? And obviously our pioneers were the ones that figured this out, right? Because the daily that was taken away was taken when there was a falling away first. What is the falling away first? There's a compromise, right? And who compromised? Yeah, the church, right? The compromise with Constantine, right? Yeah. And the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, right? And who opposed and exalted himself, right? And called him God, or that is worship. He wants to be worshipped, and sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, all right? Yeah. And who does the preterists or the Protestants and the Catholics say the abomination of desolation is? Who do they say it is? What's the name? No. Yeah, at the time of the Maccabees, that's right. Who? Antiochus Epiphanes. Can you believe that Desmond Ford also believes that? Huh? Yeah. And who else did he say when Jesus was warning them? Obviously, Antiochus Epiphanes came in like 156. I can't remember the exact, hundreds of years before Jesus. When Jesus was warning them the abomination of desolation, right? Some teachers teach that who's the abomination of desolation that Jesus was warning them. I watched the video of Desmond Ford, and he said the abomination of desolation is Judas Iscariot, right? Because he came with his army of mob and came into where Jesus was, right? And captured Jesus. So he's the abomination of desolation. Oh, wow. Desmond Ford, right? Everybody's confused, right? When they, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. It doesn't make any sense. It really is quite amazing, right? Yeah, everybody wants to back away from saying that the man of sin and the son of perdition is the papacy. Everybody's afraid of that, right? Nobody wants to say that anymore. Okay. When you see that, and then the following away first is the Church of Pergamos. That's the time of Constantine, right? When he had everybody baptized en masse, right? Yeah. And then there's 312. And then Thyatira, the church after that, is when the man of perdition and the man of sin and the son of perdition, right, was able to persecute until the indignation be accomplished, right? So when you study this, then you will know exactly what Jesus is talking about, because these things happen to them at that time, but is more applicable to us in our time, okay? So that we know when to flee to the mountains. All right. Yeah. Hey, we've done this so many times, right? Jesus had to tell them after he departed the temple, he had to give them a sign as to how to escape and when to escape, because it was within that generation, within 40 years after, at the destruction of the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, because Jesus gave them that warning in what year? 31 AD. So within 40 years, right? Within one generation, that is when the abomination of desolation came. But when did the abomination of desolation came? What year was it? When did Cestius first came? 66, right? Yeah. All right, 66. Okay. Just testing, making sure everybody's still remember that, okay? We're gonna go there. We're gonna do that. You know, we've done this so many times, but we'll still do it over again. Yeah. What is the abomination of desolation that we have to look for right now? When the idolatrous standards of the Romans should be set up in the holy ground, which extended some furlongs. So it's the idolatrous standards of Rome. It was not in the temple, but the idolatrous standards was put around the city, and the city is called a holy city, right? When they see that, they have to escape, right? They must not hesitate, right? Lest they be involved in general destruction. They cannot hesitate. Okay, all right? So, Cestius came, right, at the time of the siege, at the Feast of Tabernacles in 66 AD. The Feast of Tabernacles is the 15th day of the 7th month, right? And Titus came, what? And what year? 70 AD. What time of the year? At the time of the Passover. So Passover is what time? Right. The 14th day of the first month, right? Titus came, right? And how far apart is this? 3.5 years. 1260. Prophetically, 1260 days. Right? Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened with the display capture. All right, let me get my here. I have to make sure that OBS is still working. Oh, sorry, OBS is